Hello, hello, hello. Back again. Meant to get to this last night, but I ended up making a response to a comment that was left on the last video, and I just got kind of carried away, and then it was bedtime. If you hear any rumbling in the background, it's dog versus cat up in here, so please excuse the tribal beefing in the living room. So, this is a video that I'm probably definitely going to split into two parts, because it's a 10-minute long video, and I know there's definitely some tangent-worthy points of discussion that are brought up in this video that I want to go into, and I want to spend some time with it, because I think so far on the channel, with the first 10 or so videos that I have posted here, there's kind of this these thoughts that I'm trying to get towards, and this video I found was a perfect example of some topics I want to springboard into, and also it kind of touches on some things that I've said previously, like for instance the very first two videos on this channel in relation to the young black man, older black man, and their struggles to tie themselves without having to employ the help of Mr. White Man or Mr. Hispanic man. Some of this kind of came up in the last videos when I was doing a response to Davis Aruni's review of Black Panther as well. So this is called The Evolution of the Black Man, and this is from a channel that's called Awareness with Chris. And it came up, and I know why it came up in my algorithm, because he has a video which I haven't watched yet, because I know that I want to cover this at some point and maybe do some notes on. It's a video that he has called Why I Agree with Richard Spencer, and I even think in one of his videos, either that one or a separate one, he references Jared Taylor as well. So, anywho, let's just dig in. So it's 10 minutes. I think what I'm going to do, because about the 5-minute mark of the video, it's a little past that, he starts a certain subject about sports, Cam Newton versus Tom Brady. So I'm going to stop there, and then I'll come back on a part 2 and take the remainder of the video and, maybe kind of tie it up with some closing points and what have you. So, anywho, let's see. We got the volume right. I'll throw the link in below later, as usual. So let's dig in.
The evolution of the black man has always been, I think, a thought, at least in my head. Thinking back to the days of when we sold each other into slavery over the continent of Africa to white traders. We spent, 50 to 100 years in slavery over here in the United States, Civil War, decades later, the Civil Rights Movement, Jim Crow.
Alright, let's stop right there. So it's about 33 seconds. Maybe I'll even just go back after I've touched on a few things, just to reiterate that point. So, yes, but before selling each other to the white man, there was a long-standing Arab slave trade that even in some ways persists to this day of sub-Saharan black people going into that part of the world. And interestingly enough, one of Kendall St. Charles covered this quite a bit in the videos that she did have on YouTube, and in particular referencing the fact that without the already well-established roots of trade in goods, besides, people, children, resources, what have you, without that already have been well-established for quite a bit of time in Africa, just to the Arab world, the whites would not have been able to show up, and they didn't just show up out of nowhere. I mean, this was already such a well-established thing that was very ongoing. So then he goes there, then a couple hundred years in slavery here, then decades, the Civil Rights Movement. And see, this is very telling, and this is something I'm going to probably return to again and again. This is one of the biggest things with the black man's logic, and especially the black American. Sometimes I'm going to talk about things that span the entirety of sub-Saharan black African peoples, whether on the continent or in the diaspora, whether it be America, the UK, and other parts of the globe. But then also in particular here, I'm mostly going to hone in on the black American man and that experience with this video. But I know I'm going to not be good about this always, but sometimes I'm saying things that specifically relate to the American experience. Some things are just maybe cover the whole spectrum. But particularly with him as a Black American man, what he's laying out just so far is this very, and you see this with Black people in general, this very rote understanding of history. It's like it's like the creation story. First there was nothing, and then we were on boats to the New World. 100 years of white slavery, ... Civil rights movement, Rosa Parks, the buses, Woolworths counters, and then, now obviously from there, and as you'll see, as I'm going to return to this again and again on this channel, we go a whole lot of different directions, a lot of blame, a lot of conjecture, a lot of things that are not contextualized by Black men or Black women. So he's doing the very, very typical Black history outline. It's like the kind of Cliff's Note version of Black American history that so many Black people have that has no nuance. And I mean, obviously it's a 10-minute video on your car. I'm not asking him to go, do some Tom Sowell dissertation, but just the way he's describing, the way he talks throughout this video, just keep in mind, this is a very rote Black man specifically, but it's not unique to Black men. Black women do this too. Let's keep going.
The breakdown, next thing you know, is the breakdown of the Black family, the Black man being taken out of the home.
Ding, 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 ding. So we get this very rote Black history, and there was nothing, and then the boats, the slavery, ... the Woolworths counters, ... Black fathers out the home. Now, one of the key questions, I want this to become like, if you're familiar with kind of the Kendall St. Charles channels, the hashtag who was at the gate, the other question should be, who took Black fathers out the home? I would like anyone, I might even have to have a raffle for this at some point on this channel. I want you to show me, and I'm assuming we mean white, but maybe some of, Cesar Chavez and them, the Hispanics who were marching around the 60s, maybe they volunteered to help go round up Black men and pull them out of homes. I want you to tell me exactly who were these people that were taking Black men physically, removing them from the home. There's all the footage, all the pictures, every PBS special, what's his name, Ken Burns documentary. Never seen a whole photo history or any written records or reports of, I'm going to just take it to say that America was majority white up until about 1965, give or take. It has been kind of on decline as a white population since. So I'm going to take it this majority are white men, and maybe white women helping in some type of secretarial administrative support, removing Black men from homes. I really want someone to show me those results, because I hear this said so much by Black men, and you'll hear some of the offshoots from that, this really baseless assumption that Black men particularly like to throw out there, and Black women do it too. We'll get into that as well, because it's interesting how they're both saying the same thing, but the whole narrative behind and the motivations to why we keep throwing out this baseless lie and accusation continues to go unfounded. Is that the word I'm looking for? But anyway, we'll continue.
Single motherhood, rampant drugs, violence, that transitions you into the 80s and 90s.
Okay, let's pause there. So then, Black. So are you getting the 1 plus the A plus B equals C, 1 plus 2 equals 3 argument here? Black fathers taken out the home. By who, might you ask? Again, who was taking these Black men out of the homes? I really want an answer to that question, and I want some solid proof. ... Drugs and violence, and brings us to the 80s. This is one thing that I want to say here is that I'm really trying to work on expanding this thought. It's so interesting to me how we talk about particularly the 60s fathers taking out the homes, single motherhood. But it's funny, even my own family, my grandmother was a single mom as a 14 and 16-year-old to my mother and my aunt in early 1950s Birmingham, Alabama. So, when I start telling that story to kind of debunk a lot of this, these just kind of catch-all, just fake news that keeps getting thrown out here. We'll return to that. But it's very funny how it's just 1965, apparently, everyone just on a dime stopped. I might have to link that Poor Black Women article from, that letter from the 60s that a group of Black women signed and penned that really calls this whole lie out completely across the map. But yeah, I think I'm gonna start just dropping that in every video. So if anybody comes to this channel, they need to go read that and see where we're going with this. But anyway, so so the drugs and the violence particularly. It wasn't a bunch of. When you look at the photos of the history, the Bloods, the Crips. You look at this, the urban ghetto, inner city, cities in that transition period in the 70s and the 80s. I don't see a lot of, go watch like Gangland on History Channel. I don't see a whole bunch of black women with babies on their hips, with revolvers in their hands, standing around pushing drugs. I don't see a bunch of black women and their oodles and oodles of children out there shooting and robbing and killing people. I see black men doing that historically, and I mean we still see it today. But it's just this continues with Chris in this video. He's this very but black, and I the thing is this goes back to the black woman, particularly how she enables this. But he can just, the way he talks in this video is this very disembodied, quote unquote good black man, like the way they talk. They just, everything is just happening. It's just the drugs, the violence. It's like the way old people say, well, I got on the Google or the internet. It's this kind of removed disembodiment from actual lived in human actions. And that's one thing I didn't really go too much into my notes, but I kept thinking of the book Human Action by Ludwig von Mises. Did Mises write? Mises wrote Human Action, right? Oh, sorry, I'm blanking on my old libertarian knowledge right now. But I've never read the whole book. I'm just overly familiar with it from my Ron Paul libertarian days. Holla. And it's just the idea of, because the premise in parts of the book is just describing the economics, human activity, human action, all these various interactions and how things evolve by people doing and participating and being a part of something. It's human actions of the individual that come together without any coercion. I mean, I don't want to use the term invisible hand, but in that idea, and that's how things happen. So a bunch of individual black men engaging in selling drugs and committing violent acts against themselves and others is how you get the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. Anywho.
Well, the 70s was free love. Everybody was just making love to everybody, and of all races. We're doing that. So it's kind of, the transition from the black family.
Let's pause right there. I'm not going to stay on this point too long. It made me think of when I was a kid. I remember the first time you read about Woodstock and you see the photos and all the stuff. And I remember thinking, the 60s, man, wow. And I remember asking my mother, like, Mom, where were you during Woodstock? Were you there? Did you do something? She's like, no. And even you could talk to other white people, anybody from that era. It was like about a couple thousand people in one particular upstate New York place engaging in this, and obviously the repercussions of that cultural movement and also a host of other things that are happening outside of that. But the way he's like, oh, well, everyone was doing this free love thing. Yeah, but you're kind of expanding a certain event to encapsulate the actions of millions of people who are not even related to it. There were a whole host of other social issues going on. To say 70s free love Woodstock, well, that's just what everybody was doing, was going on, is kind of just a really childish stretch. I make quite a few stretches in some of the things that I talk about and present here in videos. Not a judgment call or anything, but I felt that was worth pointing out.
To more mixed culture, but 80s and 90s, you have your hip hop culture, which spewed a lot of promotion of drugs and violence and promiscuous sex. You look at people like Eazy-E, who died of AIDS. Okay,
I felt weird to cut it off right there. Again, who? I feel like an owl. Like that owl in the old, those Tootsie Pop commercials. He's sitting in the tree. I feel like some kind of owl. Who? It was glorifying rap. And who's glorifying the drugs, the violence, and promiscuous sex? Who was participating in it? Who was writing songs about it? I'm already at the 15-minute point, and since this is something I've been wanting to do for a while, and this video catches so many things, please come back. I'm going to try to make sure that I don't really go beyond, I think I can actually get 30 minutes now, out of before it shuts off, before I get shut down. Shut it down. So we'll see where this goes. All right, we're about 14 and a half minutes. Because I'm really trying to watch, just, making sure it's not too long, too tedious. Anyway. So, but who was doing this? Again, especially because I've only watched a few of his videos, and I have an opinion. But I can't make a full opinion because this is YouTube. I don't know this person personally. But, you know, I'm just going from the impressions and things that are being said in his videos and what he's communicating. But this idea that just all these things are just magically happening. One key thing that I would point out here, particularly, is C. Dolores Tucker. I can't remember exactly what she did. Was she a lawmaker? She was someone that was involved in local city or regional politics, black woman. Now, there was a black male pastor type that was a good friend of hers. I don't know if they were in the same city or they were both working on this. So I'll be fully fair and balanced on that one, that there were black men, too, that came to the forefront. But she got a lot of pushback, but also it's almost like the ghost of C. Dolores Tucker kind of lives. And I think this would have been, if people get on like the whole Tipper Gore and the whole ratings for videos and all that stuff now, but comparably, C. Dolores Tucker was saying, this music is degenerate, it's debased, there's a lot of sex, a lot of violence, it's going to lead to bad things for our race and stuff, blah, blah, blah. Black men and black women in general shut her down. And one of the arguments that was made, and you still see it today to a certain degree, but I think it's faded now that rap and hip hop have become so commercialized, just so blatant, so empty, like kind of like filler, that it was black men expressing themselves, and this is what it was like in the urban concrete jungles of New York, Baltimore, Detroit, LA, man, and they want to sing and you oppressing them. So even when we talk about they love talking about white men be oppressing them, but even within the race, you can't, he has to sing about how that other person that shares his race, that black girl, young woman, is a hoe, hoochie, bad bitch, gangster bitch, hoe bitch, bitchy bitch, bitch hoe. That was him expressing himself. So it's so funny now watching black men like this man, this video, and you see this across the map with black men, particularly now, especially the whole YouTube social media sphere has really, this past decade of them coming to the social media with their fucked up grievances. The argument now, since most of these guys now in their 20s and 30s, what they don't know, or what they're pretending not to know, what they're not being told by a lot of these older black men who are in their 40s and 50s now, that they sat there passively, that they were at least 18, maybe 30 when this stuff started to come out. This is what they liked. This is what they wanted to dance to. And if they even didn't represent them or their own lived experiences, they still went along with it. Oh, the bros just expressing themselves. They might even work, have a nice blue collar, white collar corporate job, but, when they're in the car on the way home or at the gym or just hanging out, they got the same booty, hoe, bitch, smoking weed, shooting crack, smoking crack crap in their ears. But, it's just happening. Black men didn't, but then I love this argument. It's the Jews. The Jews made them sing about how they mama steak bitch hoe and how they'll shoot like the next nigga they see for like a pair of sneakers or any other of the base degenerate shit they've been rapping and hip hopping about for the past 30, 40 years. So it's really funny again watching a disingenuous, disengaged black man like this with his very rote, Cliff's Notes version of black history that has no nuance, no contextualization. Anyway, let's keep going.
These rappers like Tupac and Biggie both got shot within a short period of time with each other. So you're looking at the complete breakdown of the black family. Black family is almost no more.
I know he's just ranting and rambling in the car, and like I rant and ramble to a degree in these videos too, but it's like I don't really understand this line he was drawing. So then Eazy-E, die of AIDS, rap, hip hop, blah blah, the breakdown of the black family. Like, so bad music makes families go away, but then you're telling me the white man just removes you physically from the home. Now I didn't say white man. And but the thing is, I already know the answer that he would give me or anybody below that's going to come here. And I know I already know the top five things that you'll say that I can easily debunk and dismiss. But we'll just keep that moving there. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just stop and let this one upload. And I'm only at the 1 minute mark. So I'm going to let it stop here before we hit the first 20. Come back for part 2. I want to keep this going. I'll just upload this and we'll just keep it moving nice and steady. So catch you in a few.